You don't need me to record.
All right, all right,
Audacity
all
or anything.
right. We alive. We're live.
Let's go.
We're live. Why aren't you two saying anything?
I'm dying inside.
Oh, okay. We're live. I'm not gonna have anything to say for this stream, so you two are gonna be like the ones.
You mean I'm gonna have to fucking carry the whole stream?
Yeah, you two are gonna have to like talk. So I talked like the entire time
things.
last stream, so now it's gonna be you two.
Oh, well, shit.
Yeah. So
hello. Welcome. I'm here.
Yeah. Good job.
I'm the host, I guess, even though I'm not actually hosting.
No, but you are expected to like talk because like I don't. Listen. This
So
whole
why are we in
operation
hell
is,
this
like,
time?
Your two ideas.
This was everyone's idea. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I will
take
push the blame on everybody but myself.
I take no responsibility for this.
Yeah?
Or any drama that this may cause. Listen, all right. I'm just here to have a good time.
I'm just here to have the power of friendship with my friends. Hold on, I'm trying to at everyone while we're doing this. Come.
Where did Sai go?
He died.
Damn.
All right, cool. Well, now that he's dead, the whole facade of me having a co-host is completely shattered.
Sorry, what? Hayden, are you there?
Because it's not me.
Yeah, we
it's not picking up Hayden's mic for some reason. Hold on.
Oh, is it not picking it up on the thingy?
Yeah, on video. I have no idea why not.
Oh, that's fucked up.
It's showing that your audio is coming through. Hold on.
Okay, so I have to.
This is why we do pre-stream. Yada yada yada.
Oh, that's what we were doing.
Here, let me try this. All right,
Wait,
Hayden, say something.
I got it working now. Yeah.
Oh, I duh. I can't hear Hayden because I have Discord muted, but everyone else can hear Hayden, including on stream. So I just look like I have schizophrenia.
Fucking
because I need to set the thing in OBS so that I can listen to it.
What a shit show.
Well, Sai gets his shit together.
There we go. Now I can hear Hayden.
Hi.
There we go. Good God.
We haven't heard each other in ages.
No, yeah, literally. It's been like a good 5-10 minutes.
Oh my God. I've been sitting there talking to him the whole time. Listening.
I just have not. I didn't know Hayden was saying anything.
You just saw I had schizophrenia. It's fine.
Yeah.
Well,
happens to the best of us.
Since Sai says he doesn't have much to say, I guess I'll lead this shit show.
Yeah, what are we doing tonight?
So,
yeah,
as you might have gathered, we're all here in memoriam of one Scamboli reviews. Bro fell off.
He posted an L.
Posted an L.
Posted an L on Maine.
And we'll get into it a bit more, but it wasn't a good video, and it's not because he doesn't like Madoka, which granted I am the number one mommy Madoka defender, right? But even regardless, people fucking hate the show all the fucking time. You gave this shit a fucking 5, and I still talk to your stupid ass.
Yeah, oh, okay.
And I haven't seen it in almost a decade, so I have nothing to say about Madoka itself. Basically nothing.
Yeah. So that's one thing, and we'll talk about that a little bit because he is responding to comments and stuff, and he is engaging in a conversation about the show. So it's okay, we'll touch on that here a little bit. But the main kind of reason this video kind of sucks is the way it's kind of presented. So for those who might not have seen it yet, which I doubt as many of you. I imagine more people probably watched
we can't watch the video, unfortunately. Because so I have it open. I have it open in a tab, as you can see, but YouTube, in their infinite benevolence and wisdom, will not let me will not let us watch this video unless I sign in to confirm I'm not a bot, I guess.
Oh no.
I don't think it's because like the video is like age restricted, because it would say if it was like age restricted. It's just like now you cannot watch YouTube videos unless you're signed in, because it'll think you're a bot otherwise.
Why does
Fuck
Movie sound
off.
like he has a cold? Because I don't know. I am kind of feeling sick.
Yeah. We're also doing something different with the audio since like the last stream. So I don't know, maybe he sounds a little bit too compressed. If so, let me know and I'll tinker with it.
I got that just woke up riz. I sound like I'm fucking.
So yeah,
Is there
we're
like
not
a reason why you can't sign in?
I mean, I can, but like, cause this is like a guest window, I would need to like sign in with my Google account and then like approve the sign in, because it's gonna be like, what is this? Why is this person's like signing on this account from this like IP address? Because I also have like a VPN and all that stuff, and it's like,
Well, why don't you do that and we can talk about the video in the meantime?
here, no, there's a better way. I
Well,
guess I'll do that real quick. Hold on.
I don't know if I was intending on just like watching it anyway. A lot of it is just.
Well,
which
the
we
video
don't-
is 75% plot synopsis.
Yeah, which is plot synopsis with Scamboli twist on it, right?
Yeah, plot synopsis with stoner humor. Which
Stoner humor.
here's my hot take for this stream. You know, this stream honestly should not be about bad like anti-tuber takes or whatever the hell. This stream should be about how god awful, how fucking insufferable stoner humor is. Jesus,
I don't disagree with you, but we're an anime channel, so we're
Hey.
we're gonna keep it in the realm of anime.
Hey, dude. Hey, weed. Hey, am I right, guys? Hey, weed. When you, when you're smoking weed, you know what I mean? Yeah.
I'm gonna crack open a
Weed.
Red Bull.
I'll just occasionally interject and be like, yeah, but weed though. Am I right? Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
like,
weed.
totally fucking stoned.
Oh my
You fucking drunk
god.
for this stream?
Oh my god. I'm smoking I'm stoned right now. Oh my god.
Yeah, so that's kind of like almost the conceit of the video is he watches Madoka zooted out of his gourd with his friends, and he kind of sets it up like they're not really watching it in good faith, which when he shows like the clips of them reacting to stuff, like even from episode 1, it comes off like, yeah, he because he does say like, oh, I don't usually like moe anime, I don't usually like these kind of shows.
That's the opener. He
That
says
is
like,
the opener.
you know, typically I don't like moe anime, but I watched Madoka because I hear it gets dark, and I knew like to watch Madoka I had to get baked off my mind. That's like the conceit of the video. But like, sorry, I think it was you who said this. It's like an evil spilling the milk video.
Yeah.
Spilling the milk, but bad.
Spilling the milk, but they're like smoking weed, man. You know what I mean? Yeah. Hey,
Well, it's not
we
just
should-
that. So I guess like the conceit of this stream is really going to be about like the approach of this video, and like
in most part,
yeah, just like it's really bad faith. It's, you know, it's not great. But what makes something like spilling the milk maybe a little bit more entertaining is it is just the reaction. It's not attempting to make something bigger out of it.
No,
which I think was a big problem with this Scamboli video. It's that it's a hybrid of like a reaction video, but also a review where you did not take the media you were consuming seriously. And so you have like, you have that
Warped
appeal of
perceptions.
like a reaction video where it's just shooting the shit with your friends and saying a bunch of dumb stuff. But it's like trying to take it seriously, and like, yeah, Madoka kind of sucks actually. Let me explain why it's stupid and boring or whatever.
Yeah.
it's like the way that it's set up, it comes off as very obvious that what they're doing is like two of them. I don't know how many people were in the call. It sounds like there's like three. We only really hear like two voices, which is like Scamboli and another friend of his. And then you do hear there was a third person in the call later on. There could have been more. We don't know. But like, it sounds like there was at least two people that kind of just weren't really into it. And they're just like riffing on it the whole time. And it's like, yeah,
it is fine.
It makes sense that you're not going to like the show when you're just riffing on, you got high, you got stoned, and you're riffing on a show.
I mean, to be fair, I mean, we do that. I mean, we don't get like, listen, all right, we don't do drugs.
We do that. We do that. I have not drank or smoked in my life. I don't know what you're talking.
Movie's a goddamn teetotaler, boring ass motherfucker. Just, you know, standing in the corner of the party, like, not talking a show to anyone. He's drinking like a Diet Coke.
I think that's like the point of this. We're like, yeah, in group watches, we have watched shows and just kind of like talked over most of it.
Yeah.
Thing is,
like,
we never made a video about Space Cobra. We never made a video about.
Wait, hold up. Are you saying you didn't like Space Cobra? What the fuck?
No, I'm not saying I didn't like Space Cobra. I'm just saying, like, you know, we were watching Moby Dick and Brain Powered. Like, was there like a minute where we were actually paying attention to the show?
Like, I wanted to like both of those shows. Like, I didn't go.
Yeah, but that's what it ended up being.
Sure, but like, I think that's different than going into it. And like from episode 1, you're already kind of shitting on the show and riffing on it. That's like a different thing. We didn't if we might have started doing that at some point, but that was like maybe like 7 to 12 episodes into Moby Dick. Brain Powered, that might have been a little bit sooner because it's just kind of fucking wild. But that's fucking Brain Powered. That's I don't know. That's a whole different beast. But like, yeah, we're not making content. I wouldn't make a video saying Brain Powered was fucking garbage as like an analysis, or like positive as an analysis because of like the experience we had while we were group watching it. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I guess what I'm saying is like we're not above like talking over a show and making fun of it.
Yeah,
just,
I mean,
like, in principle.
I don't
like,
give a
just
shit.
Going into
really?
a show, like expecting it to be a shit and like making fun of it. I don't think we've done that. Really?
No, but I mean, if that's what you're gonna do, I mean, sure, whatever, fine, who cares? But it's also like, oh my god, no, stop doing that. The video is now playing because I signed in. But if you're gonna do it, make it fucking funny, all right? You don't make it funny, we're gonna have a problem. Because otherwise, what the fuck's the point?
That's gonna be subjective because clearly, I mean, Scamboli is very successful. What the fuck? Scamboli has a very successful channel, so people generally find him to be funny.
It's true. I mean, there were a couple good bits
in the video. There's basically like 2 jokes in the video. It's stoner humor, which we went over.
Yes,
not the biggest fans of it.
And like, what if also we did like an abridged dub like this, guys?
Yeah, like just do a stupid voice as you're like making fun of a character's like decision.
I definitely don't find it funny, but like the counter argument to that is his audience does find it funny. So I don't know.
Well, you know, people can have that if they want to. I'm just saying, for the sake of the video, like the variety, there wasn't a lot of variety in the humor.
No.
It really was just those 2 jokes, which are fueled like in poor taste. Like the stoner humor is just not taking the show seriously, like not even attempting to go into it with an open mind.
It's like watching a Seth Rogen movie,
just like talking down the series. Essentially,
I think that's like the main point of criticism is like it doesn't really have much respect for the show.
Well, no,
like even if he like you do look at the comments, he's like, oh, I think it has got good art or it's got like a great soundtrack. Like he does seem like there are things that he does appreciate about it, but the way that it comes off in the video is it's just like you didn't really. It didn't seem like you engaged with it in good faith. Really, you're like watching it in 2 times speed at one point.
Well, it's like, you know, well, what it reminds me of in that sense is the Nostalgia Critic video on The Wall. And like there's like a folding ideas video basically talking about that nostalgia critic video, and he makes a point where it's like, you know, the kind of riffing that Doug is doing on the wall in that video makes it come across like, okay, yeah, he just really does not like or respect the movie in any capacity. Whereas, you know, if you like, there are a lot of like Madoka fans who also like make jokes that basically come at the expense of the show, but it's also coming from a place of appreciation and kind of, and as a result, the humor also underscores that. Whereas if you're just doing it to shit on something, then it's kind of like, okay, now you're just preaching to the, like, what, you know, someone who gets something, who likes Madoka isn't necessarily going to be like, oh, this is like just basic like humor or whatever. It's Shinji getting the robot type shit.
Yeah. It's just, I guess that makes sense since he made a video also shitting on Evangelion for reasons.
Oh yeah, nostalgia critic Sailor Moon video.
Paste it on to this video.
Yeah, I don't know if he feels like this is like the branding he has to go with. Like, I guess like this is the second he tried. What I watched Madoka
but we
or
get
something.
baked.
Something like that. He tried that and it didn't work well. I guess might be working better.
I don't know.
The analytics didn't show it was doing much better, but I guess it is like performing a little bit better, maybe.
Yeah,
but I don't know. It's kind of unfortunate that that's the branding you feel like you kind of have to go with, which I do. I appreciate in the sense of like we've talked about before. Like sometimes people aren't watching stuff unless it is like sensationalized in some way.
Right. Yeah. Well, what was the other name for the stream we were discussing? Scamboli reviews doesn't understand anything.
Okay. Well, that was because he does not understand Madoka, and I was like, well, he also didn't understand Evangelion apparently. So
yeah.
I mean, but I think it's a more of a core issue,
right,
than just not understanding a show.
Mm-hmm.
But it mainly is this idea of like, I'm gonna go into the show, watch it for content purposes. We're gonna riff on it. I'm gonna get high. We're gonna be zooted out of our gourd. We're gonna shit on the show, and make a video like a year later.
Yeah, that's the thing I don't understand is like this video was like in the pipeline for like a year or something. He talks about like Pluto just came out. In my head, I was just thinking, why didn't you just make a video on Pluto? Yeah, no one made a fucking video on Pluto. Literally, no one.
Like, it's strange because like he's had several popular videos like praising shows before. I feel like one on Pluto, like that would be amazing, you know, exposing it to so many more people.
Yeah.
I don't really understand why he decided to go about doing this video this way.
Yeah.
That would be, it'd be interesting to see if like, because like it does not come off well that he was trying to go into it in good faith, since like they are immediately like riffing on it and shitting on it like from the jump, from like episode 1, and they're like fast forwarding through like episode 4, like I don't care, who cares, like 2 times speed. It's like, okay, this is a little ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's also just like such basic humor where it's like, I don't know, I think if you pay better attention, then the jokes will be better.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it can be difficult to like come up with like humor on the spot while you're reacting to shit, right? That's why we don't do it.
It's super easy. I'm super good at it. All right? Don't you dare say that I'm not good at that. I'm good React man.
Okay. It's really difficult to do that on 2 times speed. Especially like having edited for Spilling the Milk, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't make it in, not like because they say stupid shit, but rather, you know, you have like a 50-minute recording, you're only going to have so much usable material. I just did one on Squid Game season 2 is coming out, so I edited episode 3 of that. Ended up getting around 20 minutes out of a 50-minute recording. Mm-hmm. Not everything makes it in, but like they have to use a lot of it for ad revenue. So they really are like on top of that game.
Yeah.
is just like constantly trying to talk over it. But in the case of that, it's also a lot of the time like something they have not seen yet, or they have seen it and they're rewatching it. Sorry, I had to correct myself. Sometimes they haven't seen it, but most of the time they have. Which in that case, I think it's like fine to maybe be a little bit more like jokey because you've already seen it, you know what it's about, everything like that. You can try to point out little details, everything like that. I think they're very good at that.
And maybe we'll do this at some point, but I was talking with Mumi a while ago where it's like, I would like to do almost like a reaction or commentary track for like Fooly Cooley, you know, something that we've like seen a fair number of times, and the idea being that like, you know, we could like research into it and like, you know, talk about stuff and provide information like while watching it, beyond, you know, do stuff that isn't just like riffing on the show essentially. Something like that would be interesting, so maybe we'll do that in the future.
Maybe,
yeah, like Jonathan Clements for Gunbuster.
Yeah, a commentary track, if you will. A commentary track of two people who have no involvement with the fucking thing.
I feel like I actually would have had less of a problem with this video if he didn't try to take like the mediate approach, like after the fact, where he's like, oh yeah, this is bad for X, Y, and Z reason, using that experience as like the reasoning for it. So just like as an example, when he's talking about like, oh, well, they should have been able to see this come. I predicted like 2 plot points, like go with the first episode, and you know they're just stupid. They're not able to do that. And I was like high on my fucking gourd, so like you know I was not even in the best state of mind. I figured it out. It's like, one, you're watching it with the context that, I mean, you said you knew that it's supposed to get dark. So like I imagine that there's probably a good chance that you're like in the call, like things are popping up. You're like, oh, how's this gonna get dark? She's gonna die in a car wreck. Oh, she's gonna, you know, she's actually gonna be like kill them. She's gonna be evil.
You're telling me this, or like this actually creepy looking cat thing is evil? Man, that's great. Has Scamboli seen Bokurano before?
Good question. I mean, it gets recommended by Trash Taste every other episode.
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
You know, a very popular show, Bokurano.
That's how we're different from Trash Taste. Don't watch Bokurano. Fucking sucks, but it is like it does. It is. I'm pretty sure it's like an influence on Madoka, especially like.
Oh yeah, they're like all the chairs and shit.
Yeah, the chairs is like a direct reference to Bokurano.
Yeah. But they, I mean, yeah, they do lay it on pretty thick that, you know, there's supposed to be an like a menacing factor to like Kyubey. Like when he's introduced, he looks like a fucking like Lovecraftian creature with like tendrils and shit in the shadows.
Yeah. I mean, literally the way the show starts, like the opening scene is like the apocalypse, and it's like, oh man, this is gonna be a happy, cheery. This looks just like Hidamari's sketch. It's gonna be just like that.
Just like that.
Cue the Fever Dream episode.
But like it's weird because like he's not. There's like a weird disconnect where he's like, oh, they should have just obviously known that. It's like, well, to their perspective, they don't have any reason to suspect him of that.
Yeah, why aren't these characters like Deadpool, Moomy? Why don't they have metatextual knowledge of the kind of story that, you know what, that would be better if like if you know this show was written by Joss Whedon instead of Genner Ibuchi, and then like every few minutes Madoka just kind of like looks at the camera and goes, hey man, this is real crazy, isn't it? As like mommy is like decapitated. It's like, God damn, wow, we're really stuck in it now, aren't we, Sayaka?
Well, that just happened.
How are we gonna get out of this one?
Really in the thick of it.
It's just like one of my animes. Yeah, it's just
what are we? Some kind of Sailor Scouts?
Some kind of Bai Shoujo Senshis? Yeah, they had to say that in the actual like Japanese.
Yeah. Well,
with that accent and everything.
Oh man, that's what Madoka needs. It needs like a Ghost Stories like dub.
Oh god.
And he does talk about the dub in this, talking about like the prose of the show, like the show doesn't have good prose or something, and it's like he's saying that in the context of the dub, but then says it also applies to like the Japanese dialogue, and it's like,
yeah, I don't like when people do that shit.
my brother
like,
in Christ, you don't speak Japanese.
Yeah, I remember like someone had like a criticism for like Evangelion's dialogue, and they're like, "Oh, it's too stilted, it's too clinical, it's not natural." And I was like, "How do you know?
How do you know?
Like, you're not speaking Japanese. Like, you know how they're translating it,
Yeah,
and like, yeah, maybe the translation is reflective of how it's being spoken, but we don't really know.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
and there is stuff that just gets lost in translation there in terms of like there's in the context of Evangelion, there's like Rei undergoes like a character arc with like Shinji, where in terms of like how she refers to Shinji over time, like changes. Like it goes from like Ikari-san or something like that, you know, very like formal and like removed. And I think after episode like 6 or 7, she like starts calling him like Shinji, something along those lines. Which is just something you're not going to get in a dub where everyone is just basically referring to each other by their first names to keep it like less confusing.
But yeah, like if this were just like you riffing on the show and you were just like straight up front, just like, yeah, I tried watching it, I wanted to like it, I couldn't really like get into it, but like,
yeah,
you know, we had a good time. So, but it was, you know, it was just me and my friends riffing on it. Like that would have been better. I would have been like, okay,
right,
you know,
yeah.
Not
like
everyone's gonna get into
Ideon
Madoka,
or something
it's whatever.
like that. Like,
but like
we go
the
into
fact that we're
Ideon.
now submitting like this stuff, like the fact that you predicted she was a time traveler in episode 1, even though like they do, I mean, it literally shows her in the future, like in a dream and all this shit. Like,
Man,
it's not really
it's
hard
so
to
crazy.
guess.
It's so crazy that I'm predicting things that are foreshadowed.
I
That's
want to say
crazy.
too, you say that, I think this video would have also been better as just a reaction video. Like, would it remove some of the inherent flaws of this video? Not really, but it, you know, it could have been like a spilling the milk thing where, you know, they're doing like a drinking game or whatever. It's not really respecting like the show,
Yeah,
but like, I don't know. I think it's okay.
Removing
to
at
do
least a
stuff like
layer
that.
of pretense, right?
sure.
Like,
Right,
we're
because
not.
this is presented as like, you know, like a semi takedown of Madoka. It's
Yeah,
not
like-
like a complete
well, I mean, there's a
one
whole
with,
section
like,
of
with
the video just titled
Evangelion video.
The problem.
The problem.
yeah.
Guys,
Oh, God.
guys, hear me out. All right, hear me out. Madoka Magica, as it's actually supposed to be pronounced.
Madoka Maguka.
Magobaga is actually, it's kind of problematic, guys. All right,
Oh.
and you can take that from me, someone who isn't problematic whatsoever. All right, I've never done anything problematic at all in my life, especially nothing that has been videotaped and shared around online. Certainly never.
Wait, what?
Never.
What? Sorry, what? Anyway,
Yeah, like the fact that you're not engaging with it in good faith, and then like you're gonna criticize like Madoka's mom for like letting her go out or whatever. It's like, well, yeah, for one, she trusts her daughter. That's kind of the whole
yeah.
arc there. She trusts that she's not gonna do something like stupid and reckless that's gonna like cause her harm or like harm others or something for no reason. Like that's the whole arc. That's the whole reason. But she's like, "Are you sure that you're not being fooled by somebody?" And she's like, "Yes." Like that's the whole thing. It's like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like at that point, you're not engaging with it on that level. So like, it's just like, oh, why is her mom just letting her go out in a tornado? This is stupid. Like,
Kenny is asking, were the jokes just not high jokes? Or like high as in like getting high?
Just not good
I guess
high
is what you mean.
jokes.
I thought it meant like highbrow.
Uh,
I mean, the humor of this video is basically the same humor you would get from like being in a call with your friends or like watching something on the couch. And, you know, it could be literally anything. Just throw something on and just like take pot shots at it at whatever opportunity you can get.
I mean,
so the humor,
let me
utilizing.
here's the humor of the video.
I've always avoided.
There you go.
The humor, the humor that's utilizing like the stoner stuff is mainly just like, I got stoned out my gourd till I fucking started foaming out my asshole, or some like shit like that. But then like when it's like they're actually like watching it and they're high or whatever, and they're like doing commentary, it's about what you'd expect in the sense of like people not being like in the presence of mind to be able to be entertaining,
right?
And like kind of entertaining themselves, but it's just not super entertaining to like be
that's like the
of.
thing. This is when you do it, it's very funny to you and your friends. But like if you show it to someone else, like it's very,
it's the
like,
classic.
How old are you guys?
It's like the classic problem of, dude, this would make such a great podcast.
It's totally in line with their other stuff, maybe just what their audience wants. That's what I was kind of saying. Like generally, I think his humor, like the humor of the video in general, I think is that way. He doesn't generally do like, oh, I got stoned up my gourd and watched this Wolf's Raid, bro.
No, although that would be an interesting channel, like doing different drugs, watching different anime, like reacting to Madoka on bath salts.
I watched the Mario OVA on shrooms.
Guys, I just watched the new Lord of the Rings movie while injecting heroin into my veins.
I did acid watching Don. Here's what I found.
Oh my god, that would do such numbers. Man, this show
I tried goofing while watching Don.
Doing whippets while watching Toradora.
But yeah, that's my main critique, I guess, is like you're not going into it in good faith. Like if it's just gonna be like a funny stoner video, it's like don't just drop the pretense of like doing a review or whatever, or like a critique. Just fucking lean into the humor shit and just like make a fucking shitty riff dub track or something. It's like,
and when we say pretense, I mean that this video is 18 minutes and 38 seconds long, and the actual review portion starts at like 13 minutes 20 seconds in. So the first 75% of the video is all pretense, and then we get to the review.
Honestly, I think the worst part, it sounds like for me, is like they watched this with like the third friend that we were talking about that you don't really hear a lot in the reactions.
Yeah,
they watched this with them. They're like, oh yeah, they loved the show, but they also watched it like 10 years ago, and then I could see the light slowly draining from their eyes. I'm like, it sounds like you just like shit on a show they enjoyed and kind of just ruined it for them.
Yeah. It's like
not even in the sense of like you pointed out like you watched like a bad show and you point out how it was bad. It just sounds like you fucking just made
like, damn, that's kind of
terrible
rude
experience. Like that would be rude in itself, but like it's not even like the criticism you're giving aren't even like really valid criticism. I don't think it's not like sure you can be like, oh, you're fucking my suspension of disbelief and blah 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 whatever, but like it's not like there's like some major plot hole or something that you're pointing to and like that ruins it for somebody. Like that could be like unintentional and it's like that kind of sucks, but like it's still at least there. Like this just sounds like you were like shitting on the show, like riffing on it, and like they were having to watch it with you while you were doing that, and it kind of just like tainted their experience with it.
Yeah.
Which kind of sucks.
That's like the thing. It's like, or like the alternative would basically be like you are watching something that you hate with someone that has never seen it before and is going into it completely blind, and you're just shitting on it the entire time, and it's like, yeah, I think you're predisposing them to dislike it as a result.
Yeah. People, I think, will overlook how watching something will impact your perception of it, right?
Oh, 100%. It's like
we might have
movie theater. You go to a movie theater, all right, and to watch a movie, and some degenerate fucking slob next to you is just like like deep throating hot dogs and shit next to you, making like
Right,
sounds.
Si,
the
you don't have to
entire
fucking call
time of
me
the
out on
movie.
stream like this, okay?
And it's like, I wonder why I didn't like this movie where I was like getting spit on the entire time. I hate movie theaters.
I mean, it's not even, maybe even something like that. Like, if you're sitting there watching, like, if you're not engaged with it on the same level as someone else is, like, if you're just watching the fucking newest Avengers movie or something, and you're just like, yeah, whatever. Like, you're not engaged with it that much. You're just like, oh, this is a popcorn flick. And then someone next to you is like, this is so terrible because like Black Panther has like adamantium fucking slicing stuff, and he would be able to fucking get out of this mess like in 10 seconds. And you're like, you weren't engaged with it on that same level they are, so you're just kind of like, yeah, it seems like that'd be kind of stupid. But like, that might not even necessarily, like, there might be an explanation for all this shit that you're not aware of, but this fucking person that's like engaged with it on another level than you are, because you were just kind of like, whatever. I like I'm just watching it to have fun. But now like you're thinking about shit that they're kind of like overthinking that might not even necessarily be in the film. And like you're kind of now engaged with it on a different like now it's like, oh yeah, this might be kind of bad. I guess I could see how they would come to that conclusion.
I mean, it can also just be like, you know, you're watching Lord of the Rings with your friends who love Lord of the Rings, and one of them leans over to you and goes, "Do you know Viggo Mortensen broke his foot in this scene when he kicked the helmet?" Like, I didn't know that. I didn't know that when you told it to me 30 fucking minutes ago. I guess we haven't seen yet.
Funny enough, I think we touched on this a bit when we were doing the we were talking about fucking Silver Spoon and Roger, where it's like I had somebody that fucking was like glazing the fuck out of Arakawa at the time, and like that kind of painted my perception of Silver Spoon initially.
Yeah,
and I'm just kind of like, it wasn't even that like I thought the show was bad all of a sudden. It was just like I kind of went into it with more of a negative perception because I'm just like, this fucking dude just won't shut the fuck up about the fucking Full Metal Alchemist guy or woman. Like, Jesus. Like that is an actual legit thing. And like, if you're watching something, like if you're like, oh, my friends are going to watch Madoka Magica. We're going to have a fun time and they're going to like it. And then like you end up just shitting on it the whole time and riffing on it. And you're like, why are they following for this shit? And blah, blah, blah. And the person might just be like, yeah, I never really thought about it.
You know, the reason for that is, well, you know, typically I don't like moe because, you know, I don't like anime made for pedophiles.
Dude, you can't say
like,
that.
That's okay. So that's why I wanted to name the stream The Problem with Anime YouTubers, is because it's not just Scamboli, right? There is this fucking pervasive mentality among content creators. And I do want to like, I don't know if I want to make a video or like just do a pod. Like, I don't know exactly what I do want to get into this more in depth at some point.
Start proscribing people like the ancient Romans did. You don't know what that means? Look it up.
Where it's just like, it feels like people feel the need to like apologize for liking anime and like have to shit on everything.
It's like, guys, I know that, you know, anime is this degenerate low art form made by, you know, the uncivilized, culturally undeveloped savages of Japan. But this one's actually pretty good.
I mean, was it the last video he did on Wolf's Rain, where it's made under the pretense of, guys, this one is like mature, it's like good, it's like old, so it's like drawn with like, it's like hand drawn, you know. It's like a real anime for real anime fans, real men.
You couldn't make this anime today because this was made in 2004, and if you made it today, the people would call you out for making this anime from 2004.
They would call you out for just releasing the same show twice.
Wait a minute, this is Wolf's Rain from 2004.
And I'm just thinking, didn't Hikari no O just come out? That one doesn't count, I guess, because it wasn't very popular.
Again, like I get that, like I do give like leeway.
Stop doing that, all right?
Well, I'll give leeway for like content creators in a sense of like I understand at some level these are the sort of like like ways that you kind of play and game the algorithm, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you can't make this is fucking retro anime stuff can sometimes do better algorithmically depending on how you're selling it. If you're like, oh, you couldn't make this today, and it's like, I don't know, you fucking show some like woke thumbnail or something like, libs will never allow this to exist in 2024 or like whatever.
The average person who watches anime thinks anime is trash. Like most anime sucks. So in order to appeal to them, you have to like kind of also think the same thing.
But it's also like an idea that's kind of propped up by like these creators.
Yeah,
and this is nothing new. You know, you look at was it Roger Ebert who like reviewed Princess Mononoke like in the 90s or something and was like, this one is good because it's like a cartoon, but it's like violent and like made for adults. So this one is good. Literally the exact same shit. It's been what, almost 30 years? We're still on this shit?
We're still on. I mean, you do have to place that in like a historical context of people thought cartoons in general were just for kids, and anime was a relatively unknown art form in the US at the time, or like just associated with like low budget, poor animated schlock that you would just see on TV at like midnight.
Squeeze My Dilbert said Scamboli can sometimes give nuanced takes in his videos, but this one just missed the mark. It's punching down without really attempting to see the other side, which isn't completely in line with other videos. For clarification, I did want to say this at the beginning. I forgot to mention it. I don't think we have anything really against Scamboli.
No.
There's definitely videos that we don't like, but like there's been times that we will like give him credit for shit, like his fucking video where he's taking down fucking Jeff.
Yeah, like the AI conversation, like AI and stuff, where it's like, I mean, in general, it's just like, I don't know, his videos aren't for me. Like, I made the point when we were talking about this like last night. Like, Scamboli has made the only Evangelion video that I've ever seen that does not mention Hideaki Anno by name. He's basically now made the only Madoka video I've ever seen that does not mention either Gen Urobuchi or Akiyuki Shinbo by name. He or basically he talks about Devilman Crybaby, but brings up Science Saru, but doesn't really talk about Masaaki Wasa. Things like that, where it's like, okay, either he isn't like aware of these things, or he's not really like crafting his videos with like the people who are aware of who those people are in mind. So it's just like, yeah, I don't get anything out of that.
Well, that's fine, right? Like,
sure,
that's why he's got a fucking
that's why he gets 1 million subscribers, because
1.15 million subs, and we've got fucking 5.9.
Yeah, like that's the level of your average anime fan, someone who like you're talking to them at the movie theater when you go to see Look Back, and they, you tell them that you're watching this like show called Blue Box. It's like a romance anime from Shonen Jump, and they're like, oh yeah, I like shoujo, and you're like, yeah, so do I.
Yeah, like I don't want to criticize Scamboli for like having different kinds of content than us, right?
Sure, whatever. Yeah,
like, again, not everybody has to try and not that. Okay, I say us.
It's like you call something a popcorn flick, and that's basically like what a Scamboli video is for like anime content.
And that's not even like in a condescending way. Like that's fine. Like you don't.
Sure,
not everything has to be fucking like
a place.
Yeah, like obviously his place is very large. Like he has a very large audience.
Yes,
a lot of people want to hear him riff on the show. But I think
that
the problem
that does not exempt him from criticism.
Yeah, it's more like you can do this same thing and kind of still have like a respect for the work that you're talking about.
Yeah,
that like kind of still comes through in a way where it's like, yeah, we're gonna shit on the show and to riff on it and we're be a little bit silly, but it's a bunch of silly guys. But like, it's not that it's like a bad show or you're not that he says like you're bad people for liking it or anything. But like there should be more of like a intent there that has like a respect for the show that you're talking about, right?
Yeah,
I think a way of putting it is also like, this is not necessarily like a Scamboli problem, it's emblematic of like a lot of different YouTubers and the approach they take. And Scamboli is obviously very influential in our space. So the problem with this is, you're putting something out and then like the average person is not really going to give a shit. They're going to watch the video, have a good time, whatever. But like, I really don't want this to be like a new wave of influence on people. I think that's bad.
And I think there's like, I do think there are positive things that you can look at from Scamboli's stuff, like as far as like content creation.
Sure.
He's got pretty good like a sense for sound design. He has like a lot of confidence in his delivery. Not something I can say for too many people.
Yeah, his videos do not sound like shit, which is a chronic problem. A lot of YouTubers, this stream probably has it, but I don't know. Blame OBS for that shit, honestly.
Even like his scripting though, like it does do a great job in like engaging somebody from like the beginning and kind of like keeping them, retained. Like that's part of, I imagine that's a large part of his success on the platform, right? Is keeping people kind of engaged no matter kind of what you're talking about. Like he does have like a very engaging sort of like voice in that regard.
Sure.
But that being said, like there can be a kind of flippancy with this sort of content, especially with this Madoka video, where it's just like you're criticizing it. There will be people like, I imagine the idea is this is such a popular show. Most people have seen it already. I don't know if you're necessarily like, I don't know what, I'm not going to like try to like assume like what the kind of creation process was like in this regard, where it's like if you were anticipating this was going to be watched by mainly people who haven't seen the show or whatever, but I do imagine like it's especially given like the title now, like you would know on some level that this is a popular show, that a large number of people that are going to watch this video have seen the show.
Mm-hmm.
He can put Madoka in the title. He can't put Wolf's Rain in the title.
Or Bakano, I guess, the anime for insane people.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's there's a flippancy in kind of like how you're presenting this stuff, which can be kind of, it's just not really a positive for the community in general. Like
it's just reinforcing bad stereotypes, like having to, like a show has to give you the right tools to like allow you to take it seriously. It has to have like mature looking characters in a like desolate like environment, something you could see on like Netflix or something. There can't be any like cute girls moe elements because that's gay. And like if that's your preference, then that's one thing, but like to continuously bring that up in videos, just like I don't know, I find it kind of embarrassing, but also like it reinforces that idea in people that like if it's not Attack on Titan, then like it might as well be trash. Like don't even pay attention to it. You can watch it and make fun of it. Don't take it seriously. But if it has like, if the characters look mature, if they're over the age of 20 or 30,
if it's an adaptation of a shoujo manga, it's like it's just trash, guys. And I like trash. I also like weed. Am I right, guys? Yeah. I smoke weed
I don't
and
like
go eat trash.
Isekai.
Yeah.
I don't like isekai, but Konosuba, that one's good because it's like, it's like a parody of isekai. It's like making fun of it.
It's like self-aware, all right?
That's why I like it.
Dude, it reminds me of like the Avengers and stuff, dude. Hell yeah. Dude, they're just like me for real.
For real.
Yeah.
Just doing the Demolition D formula. I don't know if it's necessarily the Demolition. Like, I think you could definitely point to similarities. I don't know if I would necessarily say it's the same. Like, I feel like Demo. I don't know. I feel like someone like Pico's like video is much more in line with like Demo stuff. I feel like Scamboli. It might be of the lineage of Demo. I might be I would say it's
I
closer
get
to like
that a
Giga
little
stuff,
bit,
honestly.
but it's not. It's like it's obvious. I think it's like a development. I think a lot of like you look at like demos, old videos, and a lot of that humor is still very much couched in like specific like anime internet like subcultural humor, like stuff that you would see on like A.
Yeah, it's very 4chan.
With Scamboli, it's a little bit more broad, I would say.
Honestly, demo stuff was more like V culture as opposed to A culture.
Okay, I'll defer to you there. You're the expert.
Yeah, that's the I wanted to talk about the kind of overarching kind of broad problems with the video first and foremost, because like I don't want to put like truncate it first with stuff about the Madoka stuff, because that's kind of like shitty on the video's end, but like that wasn't necessarily the main kind of issue I took with it, and I didn't want it to like come off that way as if like, you know, oh, you're just reacting this way because you like Madoka or whatever. It's like, yeah, I like Madoka, but plenty of people don't like Madoka.
I don't like Madoka.
I'm not gonna, like I'm not gonna sit there and waste my time like criticizing a video like about these sorts of things just because they didn't like the show.
Yeah, no, we're not that dumb.
Not that dumb.
We're not that dumb that, you know, unlike Freerun fans, we just won't start, you know, posting racial slurs in someone's comments section because they didn't like something that we do.
Oh no.
Don't summon them.
That being said, he is engaging with the discussion about Madoka stuff, so I wanted to take some time to like address some of the points he's making in the video.
Yeah.
I don't want to take too much time. I don't want to like sit here and fucking lore dump everybody fucking Madoka Magica shit.
Yeah, but mansplain Madoka.
Explain Madoka.
Yeah, see, Joe doesn't like Madoka. Most of the people I talk to don't like Madoka, and that's fine. What are some of the points he makes that kind of I posted some comments in the chat in the chat there.
Oh, wow, yeah, look at those. Those are some YouTube comments. I mean, can I just like scroll through and find them, or do you want me to like put these up on stream?
I posted them in the chat.
Okay, so yeah, let me.
I mean, if you want to scroll find them, I mean,
sure, but here, you didn't screen cap what he was responding to, so it's kind of be, yeah.
So I mean, you can assume context, I think.
Oh god, and it's like slightly cut off. So hold on, let me fix this. God damn it!
Gotta change that.
There we go. Okay.
Horizontal hold.
More text on screen.
This is in general response to like, you know, people are kind of being like, oh well, they're just kids or whatever. You're kind of like expecting too much or whatever. He's like, yeah, I don't buy it. By the time, you know, when I was 14, I was mature for my age. I would be waking the fuck out of a talking cat.
Okay, Drake.
But it's like, first off, like I never really liked criticisms like this, because it's like, first off, you don't really know
right
how you would have reacted at 14 years old unless like it actually fucking happened.
Yeah.
I made a comparison of like, okay, so, you know, let's say this is unrealistic. How unrealistic is it for people to get scammed by like scam calls or phishing links?
Yeah.
Do you have to be like 9 years old to get scammed by one of those? No. You can get scammed at any age. People do constantly. People who are aware of these scams can still get scammed. I've known people.
Well, hell, that's the thing going around right now. Is like the whole people that are like in the Street Fighter community and shit like that are getting their fucking YouTubes taken down because they're getting scammed by like a fake advertiser like proposition.
Right,
and like these people are
any different from this.
Yeah,
like
these people are like well aware
Cubase
of like
is being deceptive on purpose.
Oh, that'd be fun. I'm just now imagining a version of like Madoka, but it's VTubers, and like Cubase is like a VTuber like manager who's just like scamming these girls.
Also, I guess to like be petty, they're like 12 or 13, they're not 14.
Yeah, when I was 14, I saw like a woman kicking and screaming, get thrown to the back of a van and drive off. And I was like, damn, that's crazy. What?
You want to talk about it?
Talk about what?
Is that like a core memory of yours? Or
Cut that.
Yeah, cut
that even. But yeah, like I don't like that kind of criticism for that reason. Also, like, there's not really any particular reason why they should just like be like I guess the idea is like, oh, you should be like scrutinizing every aspect of this contract or whatever. When it's like the stuff really that happens,
that shit.
I mean, like the stuff that happens is really not even like. I mean, it's bad, like traumatizing emotionally, I guess, for like if you're a kid and you're not prepared for it. But like, it's not really like logically, it's kind of like it makes sense. But
Kids
like,
get set into
not,
predatory contracts all the time, but usually by their parents in Hollywood.
So like, I think one criticism he makes is like, when Madoka takes the advice from her mom and it's like, oh, sometimes you just have to do something bad so that other people can like do not be pressured to have to do something good or something, you know, you be the bad one so that the other person can be the good one or whatever. And so she's like, oh, I'm just gonna like throw your soul gem and like stop you from transforming or whatever. And like that's when the reveal happens that like, oh, actually your soul gem is like who you are. And he's like, what, you didn't know that? Like, you know, shouldn't you have figured that out? It's like,
no, of course not. Skyrim literally had just come out, and I don't think they were playing it as like little girls.
What?
Know? The soul gems in Skyrim, you know, for like when you're like enchanting stuff. I don't think they would be able to figure that out. Maybe they played Oblivion.
Maybe. They're into really no retro games.
Monica like, loves Morrowind.
Why would you even think to like ask that? Like, oh, you're gonna do this for me? Where are you gonna put my soul? In a rock? What?
Makes sense to me.
I mean, they're like, oh, they explain to them, we will grant you a wish, and in exchange, you will fight with witches or whatever, and like maintain peace and order or whatever. And then you have Mommy, who is somebody who has been doing this for like years at this point. Granted, she didn't even have the ability to like even ask these questions beforehand because she has made her wish to not die as she was dying. So it's like she didn't have like the opportunity to sit there and like think about it and all that. Whereas like they're giving them the opportunity to think about it. But they're already like answering the questions that they're asking. Like they're already kind of going through the expectations of you doing this. And so it's like the questions of like, oh, where you're gonna put my soul into a soul gem? Like that wouldn't even go, like you wouldn't even think to ask that. Like,
yeah.
And he's not gonna like, that's the whole point, is he's lying through a mission and not explaining these things in like full detail. Like he's like, oh yeah, you get your wish, and in exchange for this miracle of a wish, you just fight these creatures that are like causing havoc and hurting people. And then you directly see that these people are like, these witches are like trying to eat people and causing them to commit suicide, whatever. So you're like, oh, I'm doing a net positive. And that's the whole point of like Madoka's character. Like he does criticize like, oh, she just wants to become a magical girl. It's like, yeah, because like really she just wants to help, like feel useful and help people. And it's like, maybe at some point she would just become like a nurse or something. But like she feels useless now. And like she sees like people are like, oh, you have this potential to be a magical girl and help people now. And like this is something that you were special in doing. So she's like, oh, I want to start helping people now. And like you see this in like previous timelines in the flashbacks. Like she's much happier, much more fulfilled as she is helping people as a magical girl. So like that's kind of just what she wants. She just wants to be able to help people.
Mm-hmm. She wants to play as the healer in the party of an MMO.
Yeah, and then Sayaka turns a magical girl to help that fucking one dude. So it's like she's not even necessarily concerned about anything. Like she's just I want to help heal his hands. Yeah, she's just
she was down bad. She's down bad for that crippled dick.
So there's not really like a really logical reason why they should be asking. Like this idea that they would should at 12 years old, 13 years old, be like scrutinizing things. Like they already are asking them questions, and they see this like conflict where like Kyubey is helping Mommy fight these monsters that are trying to hurt people. And so that automatically puts them in this position of like, oh, this person's the good guy that's trying to protect people, and these things are the bad guy. So they wouldn't just assume, oh, this thing's actually orchestrating the whole scenario. Like, there's not really a reason to assume that. Like, he's just like, oh, the contract is that we will grant you a wish so that you can help us fight evil.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, it's not that complicated. I don't know. And we can go to the second comment.
Have you considered, Moomy, that Madoka is bad because in the show, it's just, what if the good guys were bad guys and the bad guys were good? Have you considered Madoka's woke?
Shit.
Madoka is bug-pilled.
I can't refute that, honestly.
Can't refute that. Madoka is bug-pilled, and if you like Madoka, you're a liberal progressive who should be, we'll say, removed from society.
Weeb Crew
you got
hates
anything to say
humor.
about that, Moomy?
What?
About being a lib, being woke?
I'm a
Monica
red.
Lover, you little cutie.
I'm a red-blooded Texan. Okay.
You don't sound like one.
Yeah, it's giving femboy.
I'm very proud of my Texas
I'm
roots.
very proud of my heritage.
There we go.
I fly my rebel flag proud on my heart, my Chevy truck, made in America.
Made in America. my Toyota truck made here in Texas.
We hate stoner humor. Yes, we have established that was the first thing we established. We hate stoner humor, unapologetically.
See, now I'm just imagining like one of those like small like Japanese K trucks, but it's just got like a Confederate flag in the back, just driving around.
Sayaka literally has blue hair and pronouns.
When it comes with games, people prove time and time again that they don't engage with these things rationally, but emotionally. If they are in compromised emotional or psychological state, they'll bite. And that's kind of the point of Madoka. Like, if you notice, the whole thing in episode 3, right, is oh no, a witch suddenly appeared at the hospital where Sayaka's boyfriend is staying. Who could have ever predicted this? Who could have seen this coming? But it's just like a seed, like the seed, right? So it's like, who's the one that's getting all the seeds?
The sneeds. Have you considered these are all just like basic bitch like first world problems? And Madoka doesn't have any problem. Like, have you seen Madoka's house? It's fucking huge. She is coming from wealth.
They live in like Japan, Dubai, fucking
like they live in Texas.
There's so many like landmarks that are just like
it's like they live in a Shaft anime.
This isn't Sayaka's boyfriend. Yeah, Kyosuke is not Sayaka's boyfriend. Sorry, they didn't get together. Spoilers.
Damn. Wow. NTR.
But yeah, that's like the whole point is like they're in compromised positions. Like Mommy has to make a wish when she's like dying in a car wreck. They keep getting put in positions where like, oh, you should, Mommy's dead. You should make a wish. Hurry. Like that's the whole point. Like he's kind of orchestrating it to be this way.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't want them to sit there and think about it rationally.
Everyone has so many chairs. Why do they have so many chairs, guys? They're just really picky in terms of like where they want to sit. Sayaka in the cuck chair.
Another point, I guess somebody was, I don't know, what was that comment that he's responding to? Because I think he's basically talking about like how Homura had like a plan to like take it out herself or something. I'll actually pull up the comment he's responded to.
I don't know. Do you want me to like pull a comment up or something?
I'm pulling it up right now.
Okay. Sayaka dual wields, which makes her bi. The woke was there the whole time. Does that also make Kirito bi?
Yes. That's why he's a girl in the second season.
This is true.
Yeah, he swings both ways.
Mr. Anime is planning something.
Oh no.
What did Roger mean by this?
Oh yeah, so the comment is like one of the top comments or whatever.
Okay.
If you want to, I don't know if you want to go to that comment. It's just the one with that Sergey Rogatin.
Yeah, right here. I think one of the things you missed is that revealing the truth about Kyubey to everyone doesn't solve the plot. From Homura's perspective, Mommy learning the truth is a giant liability, as shown in one of the timelines. The ideal timeline for Homura would probably be one where no one knows the truth. Everyone survives until the end to fight Walpurgis, and then Madoka doesn't make the contract, which is a very weird combination, but also probably still not enough to beat Patrick Warburton. So Homura's efforts to prevent Madoka from making the contract are doomed from the start.
Yeah, that's kind of like the whole thing with her wish, is she wants to like go back to redo her meeting with Madoka as somebody that can protect her or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So like she can redo her meeting as like a protector as many times as she wants, but she can never like actually save her and like continue forward. She's stuck in this loop because like
why does he just try to groom and emotionally manipulate Madoka?
Like the whole idea that like she can, because some of the people, I guess you can see like in this comment thread, like some of the people are like, oh, didn't like Madoka and Mommy fucking defeat Walpurgis in some of the timelines? It's like, no, initially Mommy and Madoka were never able to beat Walpurgis. Like they both die in the first timeline.
Mm-hmm.
It's only in the later timelines when Madoka's karmic destiny is like increased from the time loops that she has like enough magic to be able to beat Walpurgis, and it's like it becomes exponentially more powerful as she keeps repeating, where like eventually she just one shots it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, she's doing the equivalent of a like an incremental game, you know, where she's like just prestiging constantly, and every time she becomes more and more stronger.
Exactly. But it's doubtful that even if there was like Sayaka, Kyoko, Mommy, and Homura, that they would all be able to beat Walpurgis, right?
Yeah.
Madoka's been the only one that could like beat Walpurgis that were shown in the series. And so that Homura's basically just like throwing everything she can at it. Like that's kind of her whole thing. She's like, oh, I was trying to make as many people live as possible, and I'll use all these fucking like ICBMs they get from America, like all the fucking guns I get and tankers and shit from the Yakuza, like all this like crazy
she's
shit.
Backed by the Biden administration. I guess no, the Obama administration would be like for that show.
The thing about that is though, like the reason she is doing that is because Homura herself is very weak. Like she has like a very strong like trick essentially that is tied to her wish. You know, like Sayaka's ability is to regenerate because her whole wish was about healing people. Mommy's ability is, you know, ribbons because it represents like her ties to life or whatever. And then Homura's is being able to stop time and manipulate time within this like month or whatever because she keeps redoing it because it's tied to her redoing her meeting with Madoka.
Mm-hmm.
So she has a very strong trick or ability or whatever, but she has like zero magic ability. Like she's very low on the magic scale. So when she fights these witches, like witches are generally pretty weak, right? That's why they hide in these like labyrinths or whatever, and so you can't really like engage with them with weaponry because like she uses a pipe bomb and they just fucking die, right? Like they're not that strong.
Yeah.
Walpurgis is a witch that doesn't need the labyrinth, like it's strong enough it could just defend itself without one. And so you then have to fight it with magic at that point. Homura will never be able to beat it because she doesn't have the magic to hurt Walpurgis, and like conventional weaponry just will never hurt it, essentially.
Yeah. Did you ever talk about where Walpurgis comes from?
It's
Like,
just like the general despair from like all magical girls.
Okay.
There's like theories, and I think there's like supplemental material that might tie her to a specific magical girl or something.
Was it Anne Frank?
Could have been.
Anne Frank ends the world.
Anne Frank, the magical girl. You know, he points that out. There was actually like threads about that when that was revealed. They're like, what do you think Anne Frank's wish was?
I wish the guy would like me, and next day it's like they're in the attic.
No. The okay. This is a tangent. The speculation was that Anne Frank's wish was that America would enter the war.
So
people are like, Anne Frank caused Pearl Harbor. I think the more like likely one, if it, like that is the implication, it could have just been invoking that imagery, but it might not have necessarily been specifically Anne Frank.
Kai,
but I think the implication
Kai
would be,
probably have the best guess on this.
I think the implication would generally be like she just wished that people would know about what happened or whatever, and what happened to her, and then so that's why her diary gets published or whatever. That would probably be the best guess. But yeah, the whole point is like Cube has been helping guide humanity's evolutionary path or whatever, and been like, you know, help did the wish for Cleopatra or whatever, Joan of Arc and all that. Like it's like,
yeah,
that's the implication.
It's basically like the Rolling Stones song of like sympathy for the devil.
Yes.
Question mark, dude, yes. Weed, am I right, guys? Hell yeah. Dude, I like smoking weed. You listen to the Rolling Stones, guys? Hey, Lamau, yeah. I listen to Rolling Stones. I was smoking weed.
But yeah,
are
like
you describing somebody?
Scamboli's comment response being like, if you want to pull that up.
Oh yeah.
Didn't she have a plan for episode 1 to kill Walpurgis on her own? She literally says, "I will kill every witch myself," and just starts shoving AKs into her locker in anticipation. I don't think this character really gives a shit about protecting mommy and the gang until the end, especially since she basically lets them all die. So the whole thing with like the flashbacks that were shown is like Homura basically just attaches herself. Okay, it's made more clear with like Rebellion, at least this interpretation, right? It's in the show, and like a lot of people did kind of pick up on it, but a lot of people didn't. And so that's where you get a lot of like this disagreement with Rebellion and like how it kind of presents stuff, where people are like, oh, this is just like it jumps a shark. This is not what I wanted out of Madoka or whatever, because they read it a different way. Yeah. But like when you think about it logically, Homura was like a sickly girl who hadn't been to school in years or months or whatever, and like moves to a new school. She's at like a very low point in her life to where she becomes suicidal, essentially. It kind of is one of those things where it's like you don't really know the chicken or the egg kind of scenario. If the witch is going to make her suicidal, or if she is suicidal so the witch is drawn to her. But she's at a very low mental point mentally when she meets Madoka. And then Madoka is like this hero and saves her, so she latches herself to her and gets very attached to her. In like not a healthy place, right? Like she's not meeting her on the street when she's like at her best or whatever. She's like very low mentally, and then someone comes and saves her, and she's like, oh, my knight in shining armor or whatever, and she latches herself. So we then see that she's attached to Madoka, and like it's not that she doesn't like mommy or Kyoko or whoever, but like she's doing this for Madoka. Like she has a fascination with Madoka specifically. She wants to work with mommy and she wants to work with Kyoko and stuff, but she has like this character bias that, when she tries to tell them about Kyoko the first time, I've kind of gone over this on Kai's channel, actually. If you go watch his breakdown episode 10, she tries to explain to them that Kyubey is like manipulating them and lying to them or whatever. And they're kind of like, where's your evidence for this? And she's not really good at communicating that. So this is like a character failing on her part, right? She like, and it makes sense with the character because she's not a very social person to begin with. So like now you're in a situation where you're like asserting that like someone is doing something wrong and like fooling you, and these people are close to this thing, right? Mommy has been working with Kyubey for years at this point, and they're listening to her, but they're skeptical, right? They're like, they don't really necessarily know if they believe her, because like, why would Kyubey want to do that exactly? Like, what do they gain? This doesn't even sound feasible,
right? Yeah.
And then when it was revealed that is the case, when Sayaka turns into a witch or whatever, Mommy, it's basically shown that Mommy had taken what she said and like thought about it and kind of was like, we're over the scenario and been like, okay, well, if this is the truth, it's kind of up to me as like the senpai or whatever to take responsibility and like stop them from turning into these monsters, that because I've kind of led them into this path or whatever. And she kind of puts it all on herself.
Yeah.
Which is very in line with her character as far as like she's been working with her by herself this whole time. She does goes the hardest route of being a magical girl, where she like goes out of her way to fight like familiars and stuff that don't give her any kind of benefit back. So she's like expending magic without being able to regenerate any. All these things are very in line with the characters. And so it makes sense that like Homura is then kind of scared to approach Mommy because she's like, oh, last time I tried to explain this to her, she just tried to kill me. And so that is like a character bias on her part, where then she then kind of approaches that scenario as like, I cannot tell Mommy the truth because she will just not be able to accept it and she'll lose her head or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of addressed more in depth with Rebellion, but this is present in the show, but it's just kind of present in a way that like if you read into it, it's there. If you don't read into it, you can miss it, right?
Right.
So
dude, I'm here to watch anime. I'm not gonna. What do you mean by reading? I'm watching the dubbed. I'm not doing any reading.
I'm not gonna read any subtitles. But yeah, so like she says this with Sayaka. Like she will protect Sayaka in so as far as it is beneficial to her protecting Madoka. But once Sayaka becomes like a liability in protecting Madoka, she will get rid of her, right?
Yeah.
Like Madoka is her number one priority or whatever. So she will try. I mean, she can beat all the witches, like the regular witches, by herself. Like they're not strong. That's why they're in the labyrinths, because they're actually very fragile through conventional weaponry and stuff like that. But she can't beat Walpurgis. So she to have a chance, ultimately she would need everybody to survive to the end, which she is just unable to do because she cannot communicate. Like she has detached herself from everybody doing this timeline so many fucking times, right? That's why she acts so cold and like distant, because she basically almost again, this is a controversial, not everyone will agree with me when I say this, but like she's almost like detached herself from the situation, right? Like she's disassociated herself from what is going on in a way that helps her cope with being able to redo this timeline over and over and over again. Yeah, so like she almost views.
You can almost think of it in terms of like you're playing a video game. You're playing a video game and you have an objective that you want to accomplish, and you keep fucking it up every time. So you keep like resetting back to a specific save in order to get it right. And as you do it more and more and more, you start trying more and more things that you probably wouldn't be doing otherwise in the game in order to accomplish that objective. You stop thinking about yourself that as like a character that exists in the game, and more so just like, I need to get this fucking done.
Yeah, you kind of lose track of like what's happening in like a Final Fantasy game, like story wise, when you're like fighting the boss for the like 120th time or something, if you're stuck on it, right?
Yeah, and by the end you're on like a genocide run of like Undertale or something. You're like, all right, this is what I got to do.
Now put that in a scenario where it's like you're redoing a month, like dozens and dozens of times, and you're seeing these people die constantly, and like you start kind of viewing them through your biased lens of like having like this. Again, this is something that's kind of addressed more in Rebellion, where she starts like interacting with like Kyoko and being like, oh, I didn't think you were like this, because she only has interacted with her within this like month time frame, and this month time frame is a very specific point in time where she hasn't really like grown accustomed to like working with them as a group. She thinks Sayaka is incompetent because Sayaka is always incompetent in that month because she always just becomes a magical girl and dies or whatever.
To answer your question, Lex, who would win, Bill Murray in Groundhog Day or Homura from Madoka? Bill Murray would just beat the living shit out of Homer, honestly, if only by virtue of the fact that he is a large American man and she is a small, tiny Japanese child.
Homura's got magic and guns, though.
Okay, but have you considered Bill Murray's been in that time loop for like tens of thousands of years?
Yeah, but has Homura been in that time loop for tens of thousands of years?
I guess we don't know. I think
she
someone
would be,
like
calculated. She would be like a chaos factor, right? Like she would just appear. He'd be like, "What the fuck?" So like
this is like an ultimate an ultimate death battle type thing, because like I mean Bill Murray certainly also could have just become a magical girl like for one day across those timelines.
Oh. But yeah, so Homura is like disconnected from them as like people at this point, essentially. Like she almost kind of views Madoka as a obstacle in herself to her own safety. Because she's like, Madoka will sacrifice herself for other people. I cannot let her, because like the whole conceit of it is like Madoka in timeline 3 that's shown tells her to go back in time and stop her from being fooled by Kyubey. And so Homura then interprets that as I cannot allow Madoka to become a magical girl because Kyubey is manipulated to becoming a magical girl, and so that is fooling her into becoming a magical girl. She doesn't really consider the possibility of like Madoka being able to be a magical girl with full consent as a possibility, right? She just is like, you become magical girl, you will die, so I cannot allow her to become magical girl.
It almost reminds me of like Senju Gahara in the opening scene of I think it's Nisei Monogatari, where like Araragi is like tied up to like the chair. She's just doing like, this is for your own safety. Why did Homura do that?
I mean, it probably is a time.
Why didn't Homura remove all of Madoka's limbs before she became a magical girl? Just like turns to a paraplegic. Your like, now become a magical girl, bitch.
Your bones will heal.
And like then Madoka's wish is like, I wish I had my legs back.
I wish I didn't have my broken legs so I could help everybody.
Homer
God
is like,
damn it.
It was like, damn it. Kyubey's like, all in a day's work. What is his time card out?
The magical girl guy defends Homer and the goblin guy defeats Bill Murray. Bias.
For context, this is like the kind of humor I think we were talking about earlier, where it's like we're not really shitting on the show. We're just making like absurd, like there's a difference between like making absurd jokes in such a way, being like, this is so stupid, and being like making absurd jokes about the show that still demonstrates like a baseline understanding of the characters and motivations.
Yeah,
it's like a spilling the milk bit.
Yeah,
spilling the milk is smarter than you guys think. All right.
That basically addresses that comment.
And we got another. Oh god, this one's even longer. So everyone strap the fuck in.
They do address, and I kind of preemptive, because I did see this one, so I kind of preemptively talked about this, where it's like, yeah, this stuff is in like Rebellion and like kind of expanded on to make it more clear to people, but it is like present in the show. Mm-hmm. Just not everybody's going to read it that way.
Yeah.
They do address Homer being weird in some supplemental material. You've already indicated this was a bit of a shortcoming on the anime, but I want to type out my grievance with the time travel scene more comprehensively than in the video. A viewer who sees Homer time traveling will most likely think, cool, she should tell everyone everyone the truth so that they can team up. The show's answer to this, even if she does speak out, no one will believe her. And in the case that someone does believe her, mommy, they can't take the truth. I think this was dumb, unfulfilling answer to the valid question that the viewer has. In that scene, Homura just accepts that no one will believe her despite there being extremely simple out, i.e. the truth-telling cat. Mommy tweaks only after Homura complicitly follows the gang along, complicitly follows the gang along, knowing Sayaka would turn into a witch and blows her ass to smithereens. To me, this scene played out more as the writers lazily trying to sweep a plot hole. Why doesn't she tell them the truth under the rug? It'd be infinitely more interesting if Homer was actually able to convince the girls of the truth, but they became fractured regardless. This way, it truly sets up that there is no clear answer to her time loop. Instead, we get a scene where Homura makes one terrible attempt at working together and calls it quits on the entire idea. Whoopsie, XD, sorry about that, :3. We kind of talked about this a second ago, in that this is like her character bias, right? This is a shortcoming on Homura's part. Yeah, she's not able to like communicate this well to the other people and like lead them and convince them. And this is in line with her character because she was like an antisocial like girl that like lived in the hospital for a long time. Like, of course, she's not going to have the best communication skills to be able to like convince people in a way that brings them to her side. And like this idea that like, you know, she can use a truth-telling cat is kind of ignoring the fact that he is lying through a mission. Like it's one of those things where he's technically telling them the truth, but he's not telling them the truth. Like it's falling for the whole like, oh yeah, he doesn't lie kind of thing is falling for the trick, right? Like it's
right. I think it's also just kind of like, I mean, there are some contexts where I think it makes sense, but in general, like the complaint that like, you know, why didn't characters do X instead of Y is kind of really, really basic and trite. Especially because like, one, it's not just so like, oh, well, so the plot can happen, but also like, okay, well, them choosing to do X instead of Y is also telling us things about their character that we need to consider. It's not just like an arbitrary decision. Like there could be perfectly sound reasons for why they didn't do X instead of Y.
I mean, there is, as far as like within like the characterization in the show.
Yeah.
Like Homura not being able to like communicate with mommy makes sense because she has trauma from her mommy trying to kill her like from the first time she failed to do so. So she just like kind of gives up on the idea, and that's why she's kind of standoffish with mommy, because she's like, oh, she will fucking just she would have killed her. Like that whole scene, like it's played off like, oh, she just like snaps or whatever. No, like that whole scene, she is actively aware of what she is doing and is like all premeditated, right? Like she kills Kyoko immediately because Kyoko is a close range fighter. So she's like, I'll immediately kill her. And then she ties up Homura so she can't use her time travel or time stop ability to like stop her or whatever. And yeah, she like ends up kind of underestimating Madoka's resolve to like save Homura or whatever. But I don't know if I don't know if her heart was in it that much. Like she's like having a hard time like killing Homura to begin with. Like it's not like she's a fucking killing machine. Mm-hmm. But yeah, she would have straight up killed Homura. Like Homura didn't have a way to like defend herself. So like when you literally have been put in a position where you're like, oh fuck, this fucking bitch will kill me, it makes sense that you then are not able to like communicate with them as easily as you could before. And it wasn't even like easy for her to begin with.
There's something else strange here, which is the fact that we're not even necessarily addressing claims in the video, but rather we're addressing claims made in the comment section, where it's just like, why wasn't this the video? You know what I mean? Why was like the video 75% plot synopsis and then like 15% like actual 25% actual like review and criticism? And why are we having
to be fair, this stuff is in the video, but it's like not really as fleshed out. Like he is being not
even remotely.
Yeah,
it
he's more
did take him
detailed.
over a year to make this video, or at least it took over a year.
That's
for
the
it to actually
thing.
come
I
out.
wonder like how much do they think? Oh, this is just kind of like a phoned in like filler video. It's like, this is something I just like had saved on my hard drive. I need to get like some sort of video out just to like hold people over here. Just put that out, even though it's not necessarily a good video.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we're addressing the comments as opposed to I remember some of the points of the video. It would be hard to like actually like go plot point by plot point and address them in the video because it's so.
I mean, I don't also
like,
just like it would be so lame to like go through the video and like just like critique the bits of him like doing like some shitty abridged dub of the show, being like, but my clit is like swollen, Homer. I don't know if I'm going to be a trans.
I mean, that I'm not. Look, we're not successful content creators. Okay, we don't we don't need to critique people's livelihood in that way.
No,
we will critique, however, the poisoning of the well that you do when you do this kind of thing.
I guess the last thing that I want to bring up at least is around the end of the video, the one that Roger tweeted about. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. What is the timestamp for that though? God.
I think it was around that.
This is like when I got my waxed.
No.
Don't care.
No.
But that's just because my friends were funny. This wasn't. I want to illustrate my experience, so imagine with me. Imagine a show
while you try to
full
find
of
that,
stupid-
I found it. God damn it! Shut the fuck up. I'm literally at the part. Why aren't you listening?
You're not.
I can't hear it.
Oh, I guess I'm not sharing my stream in our Discord call. I'm just so for context, I have like the OBS virtual camera, but I guess that doesn't share audio. So, whoopsies.
Womp womp.
Can you fucking see it now?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Stupid ass people. All of their problems are caused by. But that's just because my friends were funny. This wasn't.
Yeah, I
I
don't
want
hear
to
it either.
illustrate my experience, so imagine with me. Imagine a show full
it's
of
not
stupid
important.
ass
It's
people.
more
All of their
important that
problems are
the
caused
audience hears.
What?
Well, if they can't hear it,
Can people hear it? I'm
can't
fairly
hear it.
certain I'm showing the guy like
by
no, the audio's coming through. Yeah, people can hear it.
okay.
Okay. Oh,
them
shut
being
up.
stupid. Any person watching could fix every conflict in the show. Now imagine this. You are stuck watching these idiots because it is your job. I became the anime cuck. I was stuck to my couch, zooted. I couldn't even read, but I was forced to watch. My explanation lacks details, so here's an example. What was up with that time travel loop? Humder tried to tell everyone about the demon cat, and she's like,
That point specifically.
Yeah, this
being
trend,
forced to watch anime.
Yes, because that's my job.
What a horror.
Yeah, I think
There are people, keep in mind, by the way, there are people in this world who need to do like content filtering for things like Facebook and YouTube. They have to watch like child porn constantly, 8 hours a day in, day out. All right.
Damn, I don't know why you had to say that.
All right. They're listening.
Yeah, they have
I
to
saw
watch
like a
child
60
porn for
minutes.
8
Oh my
hours.
God.
They
That shit
watch
is
child porn
horrifying.
for
They're like
5
why-
hours.
Why
They're
are we
watching like
saying these
videos of like
words that are gonna
cartel
get the
beheadings
fucking
so they can like,
flag?
ban them from Reddit and stuff. All right.
Yeah, I
I'd
get- I
rather
get the
watch
point.
anime, all right?
Yeah, I'd rather watch good anime like Madoka.
I
Or
will.
at
I will
least
play.
anime that is interesting,
I
like
will play-
Madoka.
I will play devil's advocate, which I did say because like Roger was the one that made the tweet. We did talk about this a little bit. To play devil's advocate, I read this more as him saying like kind of highlighting the exasperation with the scenario. Like, yeah, imagine how frustrating this would be for you watching it. Imagine how frustrating it is for me, where it's like I could see this thing and I'm having to watch it. And I can't stop myself watching it because I got to do it for the for my job. And like kind of just more using it to highlight the frustratingness of how frustrating it is to watch this show in that scenario, more so than just complaining about watching anime
I
as a job.
guess where you're smoking weed, Lamau, and hanging out with friends, and it's only 12 episodes long. It's
Yeah,
I don't know,
to me,
if
it
this
made
was like
more
like a
sense.
50 episode show, then I would be like, okay, that's a little bit more fair. Honestly, I would
Even
hate.
then, like,
Sure.
you can go through that. I certainly have, you know, a lot of research and stuff like that. It's not exactly fun. It's very tedious, very time consuming. But the thing is, like, projecting that in the video, I don't think it like actually does anything. It just makes you look fucking pathetic.
Yeah, it makes you look like Madoka, all right, complaining about how bad her life is as she lives in her massive fucking mansion.
Yeah.
Madoka is the bourgeoisie.
Bougie bitch Madoka, all right?
I'm just saying it because it's like a trend that I've noticed with a lot of people. There was a video I watched on somebody reviewed like all of Kids Bop, and it was essentially a similar sort of setup. Well, in that case, it was more about like the making of the video, like describing what it was like watching all of Kids Bop and, you know, playing Valorant and shit like that, like while listening. Not really, you know, just sitting down and taking notes like you should be doing. But you also have that with like video game YouTubers, like, oh no, I had to play every Mario game to make this video. I had to play every Mega Man game. Oh god. It's like, it's fucking, how old are you? Like,
yeah,
it's so fucking embarrassing.
Well, again, it has the vibe of like being like, guys, listen, all right. Streaming, being a professional streamer is exponentially harder than having to work in a McDonald's for $7.50 an hour. All right.
Which,
now,
like, yeah, maybe if you're
now,
constantly
like
talking in stream, but then you see like some of the people saying that they're just like reacting to videos, not really saying anything,
making
sometimes
millions
not
of
even
dollars
on
while
camera,
doing
just
so.
like away.
It's like fuck off.
XQC shade.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, especially like, you know, when you like think about like the monetary aspect, it's like, dog, you're getting paid to do this, all right? If you were doing this shit like just for like the love of the game, just to be a hater, that's one thing. But it's like, no, you have a financial incentive here, all right? It doesn't really like, it just doesn't like click with me at all.
It doesn't land, but like I don't know. I don't take like a huge umbrage with like people kind of just like taking a jab and being like, oh, my job, am I right? Like,
yeah,
you're allowed to complain about your job no matter what your fucking job is.
Oh no, you're allowed to complain about your job, but it's within reason.
Yeah, and like again, in this case, I feel like it's more geared toward like highlighting the ridiculousness of the situation, where it's just like, man, I was like, you think this is bad? Imagine having to watch this for your job, and you can't even just stop watching it because you're doing it for money.
It's like, yeah, imagine. I'm imagining it, Scamboli. Doesn't sound too bad, honestly. I think I would love to fucking do it.
You all right? You want to talk about it?
We can do it off stream. I'm sorry.
Us otaku weebs and people of culture have been telling you to gatekeep out tourists and fake fans out of our communities and hobbies and we love. I mean, there's like, I don't agree with that like wholesale. I think there's a level of gatekeeping in the sense of like you want to give pushback on things.
Sure.
I don't think there's like you have to like keep people out of the, like, I think that's not even in the spirit of like what being an anime fan has been.
No,
since like the beginning.
I think there's a difference between gatekeeping and being like, we need to make it sure so that like no one else knows about this thing or talks about it. There's a difference between that and lurk more.
Yeah, like,
just like wanting higher standards.
Yeah,
the whole like gatekeeping thing and like keeping people out of your hobby is more of a recent thing. Like 2007 ish to 20. That's like a 4chan A board kind of thing,
Right.
where it was like
You say a new thing. That's almost 20 years ago.
I said recent ish, not new. And
Even then.
Movie has the
recent-ish in
time perception of free rent. All right, he's really old.
I'm saying
For him,
recent.
he thinks that the Nintendo Wii is a recent console.
Oh my god! I'm saying recent in relation to like, you know, even the beginnings of like anime culture in the West with like Robotech or whatever, right? Like that whole like you wouldn't see like there was no gatekeeping in that regard.
You weren't
like
gatekeeping people in the 90s. You were lucky to like talk to someone else who watched anime.
And that was the whole thing, is you're trying to get everybody in the anime.
Yeah.
Like that's always kind of been the conceit of being an anime fan. Like
and now these privileged ass kids who were born in the year
they don't know the
2005 are like,
struggle.
we need to gatekeep anime, all right? It's like, dog, you're like 15. You just sit the fuck down. Go watch Skibbity Toilet.
Like
like
there
the-
is an argument as far as like
It's like an
Again,
illegal
like the
immigrant
whole-
voting for Trump. It's like, dog, you're gonna be the first to go. What are you doing?
there is a whole argument in regards to like, you know, giving pushback to like when people say shit that you shouldn't like accept, right? Like I think that's valid.
Yeah.
That's just general sort of like community policing.
Oh yeah,
Um,
100%.
But that's not, I wouldn't say like you need to like like keep Scamboli from ever watching Madoka Magica. It's like why? Like,
It should
It's like,
always
the
be
issue is
just
not that he watched
encouraging,
Madoka Magica.
like better
it's-
behaviors.
Yeah. It's not that he watched the show. It's that he watched the show and then made a video on it that is like annoying and just kind of like parrots a lot of points that like, I mean, they've been around since the show like first aired, but it's like, come on, it's Madoka aired 13 years ago. How are we still here? How does this continue to fucking happen? It doesn't make sense to me.
It's just stuck in the cycle.
Yeah,
It's like angel
it's like-
beats.
Again, it's like there's a difference between gatekeeping and like being like, okay, we should like, there should be some change over time instead of living on a flat circle. Help.
Which I hope that is like translated well like into this whole stream. I think I said earlier that this is not necessarily, I mean, we're criticizing things that Scamboli did and said, but this is more emblematic of like the anime community as a whole, just like being very dismissive towards series, not taking them seriously based on arbitrary things such as like an art style, and like just let's not push that. Let's not push like bad faith arguments. Let's not push bad faith content in general.
Right.
Like you can keep that to the DMs. You can keep that to your calls, whatever. If you just want to have fun, that's fine.
Well, it reminds me of like when Trash Tasted, like they talked about like Scamboli like in passing or whatever, and they said they think that like the appeal of it is that he comes across as a guy who doesn't really watch a lot of like anime content on YouTube. And I think they're like talking about that.
Yeah.
It's like a positive thing, but it's like, is it? Because you know, if you're not paying attention to the it's like, imagine you're in a Discord call. Imagine like you're talking to people in Discord. It can be in text, it can be in a call, it can be whatever. And then someone comes in and they just say something, but it's something that you were already talking about, and it's like, dog, read the room. What the fuck? Yeah, we literally just
it's
said
a
that.
double-edged sword, because like the thing about that is like you are going to find more success if you stay ignorant, because most people are going to be in that phase of like they're new to anime, they're discovering all of these talking points for the first time, and if you are more like on that level, then you're going to be a lot more digestible. I mean, the joke with like Joe's content is like he's too smart for me to understand his videos, which that's like maybe on the extreme opposite end.
Well, I mean, so there's a spectrum to it, all right? There's a spectrum to it because not everyone is going to be into anime as us, and that's perfectly fine. And therefore, there should be content that nonetheless, like, caters to and is made for people who don't necessarily pay that much attention to a lot of anime discourse. But there's a difference there because just because you're making content for people who don't necessarily pay, like, a lot of attention to, like, the broader anime conversation happening online doesn't mean that you yourself should be ignorant of that as well. And I think there is, like, you know, especially if you're making content that is, like, supposed to be very accessible to an audience who, let's just be frank, are normies. I think you can still, like, they are going to you are a point of authority to them. They are going to listen to what you say, so you might as well say something that is, like, interesting and novel, and pushes the conversation forward rather than just spinning wheels for 15 years.
I mean, let's be real. There's not really a discussion about, like, being able to gatekeep people out of the hobby. Like, that's just not a thing that you can do.
It's also not our responsibility. We are not people who exist in the space of, like, making and really, like, the core audience for a lot of this stuff, which is, like, otaku in Japan.
Like, Japanese people can gatekeep us out of the hobby. Like,
right.
You literally have
we
that
are
with
the
people.
tourists still nonetheless in that
The people, like, on Twitter who have fucking Monterey Coco on VHS and will not rip it online because they are gatekeeping filthy gaijins out of the hobby from being able to watch Monterey Coco.
Yeah,
like that is the gatekeeping that can be done. As
Although
a Western
we might
anime
see
fan,
some of that soon.
As a Western anime fan, you cannot gatekeep anybody out of anime. Like,
you do not make anime. You are not, like, the core of anime culture. What are you talking about?
They're putting this on Netflix. I mean, that's gonna happen, like, with video games, right? Like, video games as a hobby just outgrew people that played video games as, like, it became more easily accessible. It's the same with, like, anime. You're not going to be able to gatekeep. You can gatekeep communities, but that doesn't really, like, act as a net benefit for people, right?
It's like me being, like, as a
like,
white person, like, guys, we need to gatekeep the hip hop community. It's like, what the
oh my
fuck are you
God.
talking about?
But, like, you saw this with, like, 4chan for years. Like, yeah, there was a utility in gatekeeping people and not letting, like, telling people to lurk more, right? If they wanted to talk about Naruto, like, hey guys, I just watched Naruto and this is my first anime. It'd be like, dude, just fucking lurk more. Like, don't fucking post this shit so brazenly. Like, learn the fucking culture. But that only works in that community. Like,
right.
That is not going to extend, like, A did not then expand to, like, the entirety of the anime community. The anime community then just moved on past A at some point because people stopped going, like, at some point people just stopped repopulating A and it just became older audiences, right? Like, you stopped getting younger people going in. They started going to communities like TikTok or whatever, and then they just formed their own culture. Like, this shit will move on without you. Like, you don't, the solution is not to try and gatekeep people because it's just impossible. Like, you're talking about a flood of people that are gonna, like, outnumber you by, like, 1,000 to 1 at the very least. It's just not gonna happen. No. So, like, the way that you kind of combat this is you create a space that encourages people to, like, delve more into shit. That's about the only thing you can do, right? Like, we can make this space that kind of has these discussions and kind of talks about these things and maybe kind of, like, tries to push back on people, be like, hey, you shouldn't, like, talk about things in this way. Maybe think about things from this perspective and stuff like that. But there's not anything that we can feasibly do to, like, we can't, like, what are we going to, like, someone that watches, like, My Hero Academia on Netflix, we can't go on there, like, to Twitter and be like, stop watching My Hero Academia, you fucking loser. Like, the fuck is that gonna do?
I mean, the thing with, like, a video is you put it out publicly. It's open for criticism, you know?
Accessibility is a problem. That basically that is gatekeeping. That is the only way you can really gatekeep, is making things accessible. If you don't make things accessible to people, then you are gatekeeping them. That is really the only way to do it. We don't have the means to gatekeep anybody. No, like, by the time that it becomes accessible to us, it is accessible to everybody.
We are not, like, we are not the ones who decide, like, what streaming platform an anime goes on. You know, is it going to be on Netflix where it could reach potentially an audience much wider than what like Crunchyroll could achieve is going to go on Crunchyroll, where it's going to focus on a specific audience? Is it going to go on some other streaming platform that isn't going to have as much of a market share? Or is it going to be like Girls Band Cry and just not really go on any of them until several months after the show airs and then kind of come out on Amazon Prime or something?
Yeah. No, I mean, the only thing, this is just what I've learned. I don't know if it's necessarily the answer, but like the only thing the only thing you could really do is like make a space that facilitates some sort of positive change, and hope it makes some sort of traction, attracts some people, attracts the right people, and you make some sort of positive influence, right? That's about the only thing you can really do.
Yeah.
Like if you make a community that's open to people and you don't gatekeep people out of it, and you just kind of police in a way, right? Like, if someone comes in and is just like, oh, why are you watching Lucky Star, that fucking pedophile moe shit or something? You kind of like, you push back and you're like, why are you calling it that exactly?
Right.
And kind of gatekeep in that way, but not necessarily be like, you don't belong here and ban them. Cause like, you're just basically creating echo chambers and you're making a space that's going to be larger than yours that people are going to flock to, right?
Especially in the age of the internet now, where like you go back like 20 years, you go back 20 years to the 2000s, and you didn't have sites like Twitter, like these like you didn't have like these general like town squares of the internet really. What you had were like distinct kind of separated communities, whether they be on boards like 4chan, forums, IRC channels, things like that, and they would all be basically be dedicated to like a specific fandom, a specific community. And as a result, the people who then ran those communities that were dedicated to those fandoms could then actually be the ones who controlled the narrative to some extent in terms of like what were people saying, what were people talking about, who was allowed to voice an opinion, things of that nature. When you then start to introduce websites like Twitter and Reddit, especially like Twitter, I would say, you're no longer, it's no longer the fandom who is like moderating what is being said on Twitter. Now it is Twitter moderators.
Yeah. Like gatekeeping does not accomplish what you would hope it would accomplish. Like, you're not keeping people out of the hobby. You're just preventing them from engaging in how you engage with the hobby. And thus they're just going to go off on in their circle. And it just facilitates like even more toxic fucking mentalities, right?
You're basically just putting yourself on an island.
Yeah. That's why, like, I would rather
seems
have
like a lot of, I mean, this is probably the case with everyone, but it feels like a lot of YouTubers, at least of like the higher calibers, are kind of in that position. It seems that Scamboli at least engages more with his community, so like maybe he'll learn something from it, maybe he'll who knows.
Maybe I don't know, he didn't have to listen to us, like the fuck.
Yeah, he doesn't have to listen to us or anyone, but he seems at least like more open to that kind of feedback than a lot of people, which I think is cool.
Yeah, again,
so,
I have nothing
we'll see about that.
I have nothing against Scamboli. I think he makes some bad videos sometimes. I think he makes some good videos sometimes. I think most of the videos are just not my thing. So
yeah. But when you start saying some like fuck shit, then it's like, all right, now it's our time to shine as the AniTube reply guys.
We're the content cops of AniTube.
Content cops of AniTube.
Where are our cop hats? Where the fuck? Why didn't you give us our police hats?
I can put them on. You want to do a little bit of a police officer role play, Moomy? Is that what you're into?
Sure thing. But yeah, I guess like the reason why
doesn't Scamboli watch this podcast? He commented on the episode with Internet Pit Stop. I don't know if that necessarily means he listens to it. He might have just listened to that one because it was IP. Which
thanks for the sub, by the way.
What, we got a sub?
Yeah, we got a sub, and Gavin McInnes came on screen to say that we're pedophiles.
Honestly, that's why you don't want to gatekeep. If Gavin McInnes talked more about anime exactly like that, his content would be much more entertaining to me. I just want
Yeah,
to
I got
watch.
two play girls.
We got our little hats on. Oh, mine's behind my head. 1 second. There we go. Now it's perfect.
Hell yeah.
Cop movie over normie Mooney. Annie to reply. That's the thing, you know. We need to bring back the YouTube reply function.
Nothing wrong. Nothing bad will happen as a result of that.
I don't want our hobbies ruined. That's where Gatekeep comes in to prove my point. Look at earlier series compared to what comes out now. You can tell it's taming down thanks to Western sensibilities.
Hey, where's that comment?
In the stream. I don't know. Maybe that was only in the live chat.
Like a recent one?
Yeah. Eagle Lord's Lair, I'm so sorry. It appears YouTube hates you and you have been relegated to the dangerous wasteland of the live chat instead of the top chat function.
Hey, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Does it have to be approved for moderation?
No. It's just
I don't
like
think we can approve anything
I
for
think
moderation.
I think literally him saying like Western sensibilities is like a triggering word for YouTube, so it gets put in the live chat.
Oh.
But I don't necessarily really agree with that comment either, where it's like I still think that there are a number of shows that are coming out that are still literally right now in Weekly Shonen Jump, or no, it's Jump Plus, you have a manga seemingly just about killing aliens that may or may not be analogous to immigrants, and it's like, okay, that has clearly upset a lot of people. That is
not just killing them, but eating them.
Yeah, killing and eating them. So that's pretty controversial. Can we say that like things are being made to cater to Western sensibilities when stuff like that is getting made? I don't really think so.
I mean, there is stuff being made to cater to Western sensibilities.
Certainly there is. Yeah,
you know, like fucking Isekai Suicide Squad and shit like
that.
But
that's also not coming at the expense of like things that are being made that don't appeal to Western sensibilities.
No, you're getting
really
like
the result
300
of this
anime
is,
a year right now.
If anything, what we've seen over the past however many years is that it's, you know, what gets made and what doesn't get made is not a zero-sum game. Just because one show gets made does not mean another show gets made. Instead, what it means is more and more shows get made, and the anime industry is basically pushed to the brink of collapse.
Yeah. What? You're telling me that them making another isekai doesn't mean that we're not getting No Game No Life season 2?
No, it means that we're now going to have more like AI be used more and more to make anime.
Hell yeah. Can't wait.
Some are being tamed to appear to a much wider audience, and Japan is finally standing up for themselves. I mean, I think this is a general like misconception of what the anime industry is like in general.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of them are like more fucking woke than some Twitter, like fucking Tezuka, like a lot of fucking creators were like part of the Communist Party of Japan. Like these people, it's not like these people are all like just super conservative or whatever. Like there's always just been people on the spectrum on both sides in the industry.
I mean, so there is a case to be made in terms of like, it's not necessarily appealing to Western sensibilities, Western audiences, as much as it is making sure that it jives well with American payment processors like Visa, who we know for a fact will just like basically engage in what amounts to censorship of content that they find prurient. And obviously that I think that is fair to say that there is a consideration there for that sort of thing. Now, is that being reflected materially in the kinds of anime that are coming out nowadays? Do we have examples of shows that are either not being made or being told to tone certain things down in order to basically jive with an international audience? I don't know if that's really much of a problem. Maybe there have been certain situations, like obviously we know that like if you're watching something if you're watching Onimai on Crunchyroll, you're just going to be watching the censored version. But at the same time, guys, there is an uncensored version of Onimai that you can find online. It's not like it's like it no longer exists in an uncensored form. It's just being tweaked, and we could talk about like the whole like, you know, censorship and all that sort of stuff and whether or not that should happen, but it's not like the original just no longer exists or is being made in such a way to be commensurate with that censorship.
Yeah, I
I
think
think Minky Momo was lost media until it got subbed on Crunchyroll.
it was, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ain't that right,
Yeah.
Kenny? Yeah, it was lost
It was-
media.
it was lost
and then,
media.
It got put
No-
on Crunchyroll.
people did not actually know that Minky Momo was Haman in Gundam until it came out on Crunchyroll.
Oh yeah, it was a prequel to Zeta Gundam. It was crazy.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, like this idea that like Western like influence on anime has been a thing since, you know, the occupation of Japan. Like that's the whole reason they took off.
we think about
like
the fact
porn
that
from
like
fucking convenience stores.
I mean, yeah, the fact that like pornography was illegal in Japan for the longest time, the way that like genitalia is censored, that is all ultimately products of Western's sensibilities and censorship. But I don't think that's also what we're talking about. We're also getting off track.
Yeah, we've got off track. We've just been talking with the chat. We've just been
talking
chilling.
Yeah, that Madoka video
Having a
was
conversation.
crazy.
It's that. Well, see, we had to talk to the community because this was what ties it all together, right? We're all just part of the community. Some of us have 1 million subscriber channels. Some of us have 5.99 thousand subscriber channels. That
We're
was
losing
6,000 like a week ago.
subscribers.
We're hemorrhaging subscribers.
Please help. Please send. Please buy our stickers, guys.
But we're all,
You know, it's not always about who has the biggest human centipede, but rather who is in the human centipede to make everything like go round the way it should.
Yeah.
they not do a second season of Interspecies Reviewers specifically because of the American blowback. I mean, I don't think it got. I know there was a bunch of like drama with it where it got moved from its original broadcast slot because it was a lot more explicit than they originally thought.
Yeah, it did get bounced around a fair amount. I know that.
I don't know if I've heard anything about it having like a second season in production that got canceled because of Western like reception.
I know that like I mean after Ishizoku Reviewers, we then got from the same so the mangaka for Ishizoku Reviewers was then the writer for Ira Tentachi, which was made in collaboration with the mangaka for Dragon Maid. They did the art. And that is extreme, to say the least, both in terms of violence and sexuality. So I think we are still getting stuff like that. I think what has come out this year that's been kind of like, whoa. Oh, of course. The Plus Size Elf. Like that was pretty. I mean, if we're gonna get down to it, yeah, that also just kind of sucked.
Like no
reasons not you know, if anything, that's a situation where it's like it was trying to be sexy, but it wasn't as sexy as it could be.
It literally had like one shot that was like probably unintentionally kind of a. Oh, shit, what the fuck?
Are you getting a call? What the hell is going on?
What the heck?
Yeah, I'm getting a call.
What
again.
the Sigma?
What the Sigma? Hold on.
Sadly, Iraten is in hiatus. No, the manga ended actually somewhat recently, a few months ago maybe, but it just hasn't been translated into English yet. But you can read the raws, and I think there are some plot summaries of what happens in each chapter you can find on Reddit if you're curious. I was just reading it last night, not last night, but a few nights ago, and the ending is certainly something.
I was reading Magical Girl 201 today. Just caught up to it, and it's great. It's got great eroticism. It's by Mucha, who is a hentai artist. She's great.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, gushing over magical girls is insane. I mean, we're watching the VTuber show, and between the VTuber show and Puniru is a cute slime, it makes me wonder, is like baby age play type shit just becoming like a meme in Japan or something? Why do I keep seeing this come up?
I saw the opening. It was the worst CGI mocap I've seen. Maybe Jamie, pull up.
No, I'm not. I am not pulling that. No, we are gonna get copyright claimed. Fuck that.
No,
shit.
you don't have to play the music. Just show the dance.
Oh, fine.
Show the dance, Jamie. It's so terrible, and it has like a punchline to it. Even it's amazing.
Man, let me see if I can find it.
It really is bizarre how they like rotoscoped like over 3D models, but like they don't change the face at all.
Well,
It's literally
it's the same.
Uzumaki episode 2.
Well, like they tried to like change the proportions of like the elf or gnome character. Just skip to like that. Yeah, that part.
Yeah, here we go. It's like oh. It doesn't look good, to say the least. It's like, oh, like
I'm dying. Look how fucking huge her head is.
Yeah, get it, white girl, bust it down.
I love this fucking punchline. Just fucking. Oh, it's fucking amazing.
Maybe it's meant to be intentionally
so
funny
bad.
and silly looking, but
it's so terrible.
There's like no
fucking
bounce
love it.
either.
no, it's very strange looking.
Oh my god.
I'm honestly surprised it made it through because it's the opening and you usually don't see like an error, like not even necessarily an error, but just something that looks this strange and unnatural and just inappropriate in an opening.
Yeah, they had like Kitty said, they had to know. They had to know that it looked bad. They're just like, fuck it.
Fuck it, yeah. They probably
Do it for the meme. Holy shit.
Do we have anything more to talk about?
I don't think so.
I don't know if you could top that fucking OP. I mean,
You're not wrong.
just all downhill from here, honestly. Poppy Performer vibes.
Poppy the Performer. Yeah, you put some respect on that name. Okay? Put some respect on the name, Poppy the Performer.
And the point of this, and the reason we kind of navigate the content creation space the way that we do.
Yeah. So
Because
movie will now give like the moral lesson at the end of the
Mhm.
episode. Here we go.
Yeah, here we go. Is because we're all just part of the community, right?
Yeah, we're all one
people
big...
really need to stop looking at people like Gigok or Joey or Scamboli or Beatrice or whoever as like the like a voice, like a expert voice. Like they're not. Yeah, they might be more experienced than you if you're like just getting into anime or whatever. But it's not like they are the end all be all. Like they're not the like citation or whatever. We're all just like people that are making videos, making shit posts on fucking YouTube. Some are more successful than others.
Some of us aren't people. We have seen AI generated content on here before.
Oh yeah, true. Oh, did you? Did I post? Yeah, did you see that fucking like AI fucking podcast I posted the other day?
Maybe. I'm trying to remember.
It was fucking bizarre.
Was it the Weeb Crew?
No,
we're not
just
AI. We're just
sound
NPCs.
like NPCs. All right.
Yeah.
I only recognized it because I remember fucking Kai's video where he like did the fucking AI thing. It was this one here where it's like they're talking about the Fable and it's like, oh, it's a podcast or whatever. But it's like it's just AI. I was like, what the fuck?
What the fuck?
Fucking, that was so fucking weird. But back to the point. We're like, we need to start approaching content creators as if they're just other members of the community, right?
Sure.
Like, I understand the inclination to approach them as if they're above you in a way, where it's like, because you look at the channel, it's like, oh, they have 200,000 subs. They aren't going to see my comment. I can just shit, I'm going to shit on this fucking video, or I'm just going to take their word as gospel, whatever. And like, we need to get away from that.
Mhm.
Like, I think Kenny actually made a tweet about earlier, about
I saw
someone just
that.
like straight up just making up a whole fucking anime synopsis. And it's like, people are gonna watch that and just be like, I guess this is what the anime is about. I guess I'm not gonna watch this piece of shit. Like, we just need to
People do that for isekais all the time, which granted, usually it's like making up this sort of fantasy scenario to like really blow out of proportion like how stupid or like oversaturated isekai is. It's like a fucking guy who like gets hit by a truck and then he gets fucking reincarnated as a vibrator of some woman's pussy, like something like that.
Dude, reincarnated? Dude, Kendrick Lamar isekai?
Yeah, you get reincarnated as Drake, and then the show is called Mushoku Tensei. But yeah, like stuff like that is super common. But even then, like that's a common joke you hear. But I don't know. I take problem with that too, where it's like describing something ridiculous to like describe this genre that you don't really like, but it's not doing it in a good faith, which I guess it's like can try to tie it back to the original point.
Deconstruction.
Yeah, where you try to make the comedy take center stage, but while doing that, you like fail to bring a sense of reality into it. Because like, in my opinion, the best videos are the ones that have like a good sense of humor that come naturally, but also like they make a lot of valid like criticisms and everything like that, especially if it's like a negative review of something.
Yeah,
you should be able to walk away and like take something like important away from it, or at least like a different perspective, whatever.
Yeah, well, I think even if we say that, like, oh well, people
comedy should not be a vehicle for you to just like be a dickhead essentially.
Yeah, well, it's like people, it's not like people will say that like, oh, I'm not watching this video to learn anything. I'm only watching this video to like have a good time or whatever. But it's like, I think in a lot of cases, no, you're still like taking away something from the video. It's not going in one ear out the other.
Anime is trash and so am I, like 8 years ago. Like that's a joke, but a lot of people like,
and then a lot of people keep repeating it, and it kind of just becomes this thing of like, why are you taking it? And it morphs into like, why are you taking this thing so seriously, dog? It's just trash. And it's like, oh, okay. So like there are consequences to that.
Yeah, there are consequences to this Madoka video and its approach. And that is the moral of the story for tonight, my children.
That his consequences have been a disaster for the anime community.
Yeah. I don't know. Video's shit.
Anything else you want to say?
Comedy is not your shield for spreading slander, misinformation,
just dumb
whatever
stuff. Yeah.
If we made a joke about somebody, I don't know, being a wife beater or something, and it was just it's a joke, just a running joke. You say it enough times and people just start joking and like taking it at face value, and like that is actively harmful to shit. Like people are gonna start thinking you're a wife beater, so it's like there's just shit that you just shouldn't joke about.
It's like we keep joking about how Scamboli forced his girlfriend to get an abortion.
No,
then people are gonna
no.
I think that's true.
That was not where I was going with that.
Some YouTuber did that, didn't they? There was like some YouTuber that like forced like their girlfriend to get an abortion.
I have no idea.
I think they did like skits or something. I forget.
And granted, there's like fucking millions of YouTube channels. I'm sure there was someone on YouTube who is a YouTuber that forced their girlfriend to get an abortion. I have no idea who you're talking about. By numbers, there was probably somebody. You were probably correct.
Oh, now
You're sounding
it
awfully
was
defensive,
Scamboli
Ruby.
reviews.
Are you sure you're not hiding something?
Listen, all right, I wouldn't force it. If I impregnated somebody, they're having that bitch.
Moomy, guys,
right?
guys, please help. Moomy forced me to get an abortion. Moomy forced me to get an abortion when he learned that the child wasn't his; it was Hayden's.
All right, Sai, where did he touch you?
No. That wasn't the reason why. It was because I didn't know how. It just was an affront to God. I don't know how you got pregnant.
Listen, all right, it wasn't the fact that you got cured. It was like,
bitch.
you would have given birth to the Antichrist. If anything, you know, my actions were moral.
All right, checkmate.
Checkmate, Christians. What would you abort Hitler?
Would you abort the Antichrist?
Would you abort the I've actually seen arguments about that before.
You're just like on the ultrasound, you just see like 666 in your fetus. You're just like, oh shit. Do I get an
Madoka gives
abortion now?
birth to Hitler, and you're like, well, she should have predicted, you know, what was going to happen when she had that fucking baby.
Oh yeah, there we go. Homer's wish should have just been that Madoka was never born.
I mean, that's basically what Madoka wishes was.
Yeah. There we go. Problem solved. Is the new movie out yet, by the way?
Oh.
Or has it been released in Japan at least?
Oh.
It's coming out next year, isn't it?
What?
And
It's supposed to come out it's supposed to come out in January of this year. Or like
I hope they
winter
just
of this
keep
year.
like what if they're doing like what was that spiffing Brit video you showed me where it's like if you just like delay the video's premiere like a couple times it like improves the performance or whatever. What are they just doing? What if they just watched that video and they were like, yeah, what if we did that with a movie release?
Hey, it worked for 3.0 plus 1.0.
Yeah.
They did that with that.
I guess it did. I don't know how well did that movie do well in theaters because it came out in like during the pandemic.
Good question. I don't know.
Yeah.
What are we
Well,
talking about again?
I forget. We were talking like something about like
we're talking
Scamboli
about
forcing his
Moomy
girlfriend to have an
diddling
abortion.
Sai.
Scamboli is the Antichrist, or he aborted a baby.
So,
what were we talking about?
If you like Scamboli reviews, you're a filthy devil worshipping pagan, and you should stop it.
Scamboli, if you want to come on the podcast, talk about the beauty follow-up.
just sliding in those DMs.
Yeah, it's like, hey, we can come on and talk about how's your girlfriend doing?
Scamboli is the dirty atheist, and if you're watching, you're a pagan. By the way, if you want to come on the podcast,
By the way,
we'll absolve you of all your
we
anime
know what you
sins.
fucking did.
This video?
What?
The Madoka video?
Oh no! It's not actually widely known. Scamboli was actually one of the key orchestrators of 9/11.
What?
Yeah.
How old is Scamboli?
I don't know. Scamboli reviews Muslim.
What?
That would be funny.
What the fuck? Just end this fucking stream. What the
All
fuck
right,
are
goodbye,
you doing?
everyone.